Okay, it's been a rough week with Hurricane Beryl coming through and us losing power for 6 days. So for this tutorial, I've got to do something that's really pretty simple. So I'm going to do these 3 forks. Very, very simple. I'm just going to use masking fluid for the areas that are white, and then I'm just going to flood the paper with paint, and then remove the masking fluid, and then add a little color for the where the white was. So I've got this tool here, this pinstripe tool, and I've put some of this very, very thin masking fluid in. It's Dr. P.H. Martin's Frisket Mask Liquid Level 2. And I've just put a few drops in here. It will make a very fine line. Can you see the line? Barely. It's just so fine. Now I'm just coloring in. This masking fluid is so thin, it can really make fine lines, especially having a tool like this. You could use a paintbrush, you could use a toothpick, anything to apply it. But if you use a paintbrush, make sure you're using a brush that you don't mind being ruined, because masking fluid is really hard on brushes. I'm just scribbling this in, filling in. I think I need to add some more. Always close up your masking fluid, because it does dry out. I'll turn off the lamp here and see if I've got pretty good coverage, I think. If it's not perfect, I am not going to worry about it. Okay, now to do these others. Need to add some more. Turn off the light to see what I've got here. Okay, I think that's good enough for that one. I'm going to turn off the videos. You don't have to watch me do this. This would be pretty boring. I'm just going to do the same thing for these other 2 forks. Okay, I have my lines drawn here. So this tool is really, really cool. You just fill up the little reservoir there, and you can just draw with it. It really makes fine lines. When you're finished with it, rinse it out really, really well. It comes with a little needle tool that you can stick in here to clean out in case it gets clogged up. And it has a little cap to protect it. This is awesome. It really works well. Okay, the masking fluid is dry. This is the fun part. So I've got what I call a garbage bowl. So whenever I mix up paint and I have any extra, pardon me, I pour it in this bowl. The water will evaporate and it'll end up being this dark pigment pile in the bottom. I reactivate it with some water, and it makes a really pretty dark. I mean, there's every color that I have used in this. There's blues and yellows and reds and greens, browns, whatever. I couldn't even tell you what all is in here. So all I'm going to do here is paint the background. Wow, look how dark that is. Well, I can see it's kind of purplish. It has a purple to it. Using a 1-inch flat brush, use whatever you have. Yeah, it's kind of purplish. Let's see, did I get over everything? See how easy this is? I really had to have something easy after this week. This week was pretty crazy. Okay, I'm going to lay it flat and let it dry. Let me turn off this light so you can see the color a little bit better. It's just really purplish. I love it. Okay, let it dry, and it's going to take a while. This is a lot of paint. Okay, this is dry. I really like the color. It's kind of a really dark mauve. So I'm just going to lift up the masking fluid with my finger. You can use a rubber cement eraser. I usually just use my finger for these small areas like this. You can see my lines aren't super straight, but that's okay. I can fix it with paint, clean it up if I think it needs it. So I'm not going to have you watch me do this because that's pretty boring, but all I'm doing is just lifting the masking. Now I'm going to take a very tiny brush and kind of clean up some of these rough areas here with the same color I used for the background, just to make it a little smoother. It's not going to be perfect, that's okay. Just cleans it up a bit. This looks pretty cool. This one is pretty sloppy. It was my first one. I got better. Okay, I've cleaned up all the edges and it's dry. And if you look at the reference photo, there's a little bit of blue here and there, especially right here, the reflection, and up here at the top. So I've got a little bit of phthalo blue here, and it's watered down pretty significantly. And I'm just going to drop in some of this blue here and there. And then take a damp brush and kind of soften that edge. We've got some blue going on down here. Soften the edges. I added a little bit of my background color into this leftover blue here. There's a little shading here. And along in here. Damp brush, let's soften all those edges. Oops. Okay, let's let that dry. Okay, I'm calling this done, and it really was super easy. Just add some masking. You could also even use a white crayon as a resist for these lines, and then paint over it. And then I removed the masking fluid, cleaned up the lines a bit. I could probably clean it up a little bit more, but from across the room it looks pretty cool. That's my goal, is to make something that looks pretty good across the room. Thanks again for being a subscriber. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.